Hi, my name is Maria Levis, and I'm from San Juan, Puerto Rico. First, I'd like to thank the Foundation for putting forth this opportunity to create a national network of community leaders focused on working with children, particularly vulnerable children in our communities. As an applicant for one of the spots in the national cohort, I'd like to talk a little bit about my experience with racial inequity and how I believe that I could help and support the group and be part of the group to work on these issues. For years, I lived in the States and I was a minority in the States. I was advocate for Hispanic communities in general, Puerto Rican community, did some work with National Council for La Raza, and a lot of different opportunities came about while I was living in the States. Uh, I moved back home in 2008 when my son was born. And I moved back to be with family and to give back to my community. I've been blessed with lots of opportunities, educational, internships, fellowships, and I wanted to see how I could give back. And coming back was definitely a little unexpected, particularly because when you are used to working in environments like I was used to working in the States, I was in Cambridge, and in Cambridge and in the Harvard community, there's lots of resources for anything that you want to do. When you live someplace like Puerto Rico and many of the marginalized communities throughout the states, the reality is that those resources are not readily available. So first, institutions are barely existent to support work of social entrepreneurs and people doing work in communities. And second, there is a lack of credibility that comes from working in communities that are not as resource bound as others are. So, for example, when you come from a community that no one knows of, or like Puerto Rico, which is considered to be very far away and very, far from thinking, people assume that there's a lack of civic society capital that is more available in more affluent communities or communities that have more developed institutions. And I think that's something that I would like to bring to the work of the national cohort. I know you have specialized work in some specific cities, and even within those cities, I know that there's pockets where resources don't get to. Since moving back to the island, it's been very interesting. I've always found this to be a part of my work. It's in the communities that have the most resources where you can do the most with what you bring. And a lot of the work that I do more commercially, I have a consulting firm, so that work tends to be in the cities. But the work that we do pro bono tends to be in more rural areas. For example, I worked with the folks from Arroyo. Arroyo is a very small town in the southeast poverty belt of Puerto Rico. It's an area where most people can't go. They can barely find doctors who work in those communities, and women are still giving birth in emergency room because there aren't enough resources. And for about a year, I worked with the leadership of a local community health center, and we were able to attain funding and infrastructure to develop the first women's health center for that region. And what's amazing when you work with these communities is that you give them a little bit, but the desire to improve and to really better their conditions is so much higher than in communities like I live in San Juan, which is the capital of Puerto Rico. So communities like mine, which have so many more resources and things going on, when you work in these communities, the impact is huge because they really focus on the work and they really want to get it done. And I really do feel like we're able to do a lot more. Um, I'm very interested in seeing how I could help support the work of the foundation in this national cohort. I know that a lot of good things will come out about for children, particularly in the 4 cities that you're working in, but hopefully nationwide. And I really aspire to help bring the voice of the Puerto Rican community and of Puerto Rico to these discussions. We're so often left out, and I hope this is not one of these opportunities where our community once again is left out of the equation. In Puerto Rico, children are facing some of the most difficult conditions of in the nation. The NEKC reports the kids count annually has scored Puerto Rico the worst in 9 out of its top 10 indicators on child welfare. Still, we're often left out of policy discussions because of our political status, and the reality is that until more folks who live on the island and who are from the island participate in national discussions, this will not change. So I hope that this is an opportunity where not only can we bring about some of the issues that are important for children in marginalized communities like Puerto Rico, but that we can contribute to the larger national discussion, because I am sure that in the discussion of the work that is going on here, we will get to better strategies and uh, better opportunities for working together to help children throughout the nation. I look forward to meeting you sometime soon, and you are always welcome here in Puerto Rico. Have a good day.